to Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings, with me, Gretta Chamberlain, Yvonne Kraeher, Leigh Stima, and the Realm of Beings. Shifting Impressions, which is one of the vehicles that supports the transmission of the Realm of Beings, is here to assist you in delving into your being by providing numerous topics and discussions for you to intake as you deepen your connection with your inner world. Shifting Impressions is here to assist you in strengthening yourself as you excavate to understand your true nature. Leigh, Yvonne, and myself, with the Realm of Beings, eagerly invite you to join us today and learn to shift your mindset, shift your thoughts, and shift your focus to recreate your life and produce a new you. Shifting Impressions starts now.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us on Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm Leigh. I'm here with my other co-hostesses, Yvonne and Gretta, and of course, the Realm of Beings. And we are very happy to be on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. When you hear that term, Realm of Beings, you may ask yourself, who are they? How do they operate in our lives? Why are they even coming through with these messages now? Do we all receive guidance? And if so, how can we learn to use it in order to flow through our lives with ease? These conversations will help you to examine your life and your creation of reality. They will help you to shift your impressions and understand what you're creating in your life and how it shows up. Good morning, ladies. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Today, the quote we'll be working with, and I said to the ladies earlier before we got on, I have some sort of energy flowing through me. I did my best preacher impersonation before we got on, so I hope it's out of my system now. But there's something about this quotation that is pulling me today. And the quote we are working with is, loosen mental change from your mind. Release yourself from emotions and thoughts that bind you to perceived, now get it, perceived hurtful experiences. Be joyous and revel in your beingness. So, ladies, where would we like to start with this today?
Lots to unpack.
As always, you just think it's a simple sentence, and then there you go into an hour conversation.
Wow. Yeah. The first thing that comes to my mind is acceptance of self. You know, when it says revel in your beingness. In other words, it's always going back to love of self. Love of self. And I think that's what that revel of beingness means, regardless of what you create, because nothing happens by chance. Nothing. I don't care what it is. It does not happen by chance. There are no miracles because you're creating your reality at all times.
Oh, come on, Greta. No miracles. Can't you give us that one to cling on to?
What about magic?
There's got to be magic. Don't take miracles and
When you
magic
can't
away.
explain it, it's got to be magic. You just.
I know you love magic. I know it. I know it. I love it too, especially when they make the things disappear and come back.
Yeah.
But still,
Abracadabra. Wouldn't it be nice if we could all do that and use the magic to loosen the chains of our mind?
Oh yeah.
Maybe
and
you
our
can
thoughts.
use abracadabra. That could be like a go-to word, you know, when you're feeling like lost. And if you can catch yourself in awareness, abracadabra, let me change this thought right now.
We moved from preacher to magician.
You'll never know what you're going to get.
I love it. I love it. It's, but sometimes we get so caught up in the things that happen to us. And like the last podcast dealt with blame, we blame ourselves, or sometimes we can even punish ourselves. Some people punish themselves. They give them something that's really hurtful because they feel guilty. So they want to, sometimes they develop physical ailments that produce pain and anguish and so forth, because they're taken to heart what they created. See, if we make a quote unquote mistake, notice I said quote unquote mistake, just let it go.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing.
Yeah,
That's
we
what
have
we
to
have to
remember.
learn. Yeah.
We're just human and we're here. Those mistakes are just lessons, and they're not mistakes. They're just lessons. And people
That we have chosen. See,
we
that's
have chosen to
yeah,
take them on. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Some
Mhm.
people say, well, why would I choose that? You know, well, you have to go deep in yourself and figure out why you chose that. You know, sometimes you have to go all the way back to childhood.
Mhm.
Mhm. Sometimes you have to even go back to when you're in the womb of your mother. Because when you're in the womb of your mother, you're picking up things from your mother all the time. So whatever she's going through during her pregnancy can impact you after you're born and you start interacting with individuals in this reality that you've created.
Okay, and I just want to pause there 1 second because, maybe some people are thinking, well, I'm in the womb, and I'm getting my mother's things. So those are clearly from my mother. I did not create them. But what you're saying is, and what we're saying is that the ultimate choice was that you created to grow up inside that human mother. So you were choosing to experience whatever she was experiencing for you to what is it, Greta? I mean, is it there really that where we can transmute, those ancestral
Epigenetics.
epigenetics that,
Mhm.
is that the whole idea? Is that why we pick these challenged people to come through so that maybe we could be the link in the chain that finally breaks the chain of those things to release it from everyone?
Well, you're not thinking of it in terms of everyone.
Okay, I mean,
Everyone is you.
okay.
Because if we get into the oneness of something, we're one with everybody. Like
Mhm.
people are seeing the three of us here individually, but in actuality, we're really one. But the perception is you're Leigh, you're Yvonne, and I'm Greta.
Right. And I have
But
my family, and Yvonne has hers, and you have yours, and there's no connection between us. We are just in our separate familial bubbles.
Mhm.
But we are all connected. And I think that's, uh, another point that we have to accept. Maybe some people have already accepted it and fully embraced that we are one. But some of us may need to get there.
You know what? I'm in agreement with you, but I'm also with the idea that I don't think anybody understands the conceptualization of oneness, not in this realm that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how spiritual, you may be a monk on the Tibetan mountain and all you do all day is meditate. You still don't understand oneness.
But what about, Greta? What about we hear about people that have had these experiences of like near death, they call them, or they actually come back and say that they were united with with the source, with all. What about that? I mean, don't you think those people may have
Tasted it?
touched?
Well, first of all, you got to realize that they decided, number one, to go through that experience.
Or to create
Mhm.
that.
So they had to create that. Actually, let me go through a death experience. I'd like to know what it's like, but I don't want to die.
Mm-hmm.
So then the other thing is to understand that at every moment, not at every second, every moment, we are creating our reality. So when that person went through a near-death experience, which he or she created, then they also created what they wanted to experience in that.
Mm.
So if somebody says, well, I've seen the light, I've communicated with source, that's because they created to go through that experience. Okay. It's like a movie. Our whole lives are movies. You know, sometimes they're comedies, sometimes they're horrors. We wish
Or
we had
dramas.
you know, and drama, you know. So, but everything we create, they created a near-death experience. My husband, my first husband who lived in Africa, had a near-death experience. He drowned and they pulled him out of the water, but he was dead. Okay, that's what they thought. They laid him out on the grass, you know, and you know, of course, there was weeping and wailing. And in the middle of that weeping and wailing, he sat up and coughed the water up. Well, you know, everybody's going, whoa, you know, that, and his parents were very, you know, very spiritual parents. Oh my God, he's come back alive, you know. So they thought he was dead. Really, he's not. It wasn't dead in the first place. Because to die, and I know we weren't going on that. I don't know why I'm going on.
Don't worry.
I brought it up. I'm the one who brought it up.
This could be a
Creating
conversation for another podcast, but keep on. Let's see. I might have to put my hook and start to crank a little bit.
You know, because you can't die until your etheric body leaves you. The etheric body is another body. Different people have different names for it, so we won't trip over that. But it's where your body has horizontal and vertical lines. I think the Bayer aspirin commercial a long time ago showed a human body with
Yes, I
lines
remember
going
that.
down and
That's
going
really
across. Okay, that's what it looks like when it disappears. Now in books, they say that there's a silver cord, and that silver cord, when the silver cord disintegrates, then you die. But it's not that the silver cord disintegrates, it's that the entire etheric body disintegrates. And it can go in different ways. It can fade. In other words, when you look at it, it'll just start fading away, getting lighter and lighter and lighter. Okay. Now, the interesting thing about it is that I've worked with people who stop it from fading. They just
don't want to die. They
because
change
that's
their
our
mind.
choice.
or they haven't decided that they're ready to go yet, or they want to hang on for a reason. They will stop the fading right there. I had one woman who stopped fading for 6 months. And then when she finally decided, boom, she was gone. But it fades, or like I have my arm here or my hand, it will disappear. You won't see it. And that's how you'll know that that person is making their transition, because the body parts that you see, the external body parts, disappear.
Yeah, I think they call that dismemberment in some cultures and some traditions, like the dismembering of the body.
Yes, that's what we call it, even in facilitation work. Yeah, but so those are two ways that that etheric body looks. Now, the etheric body looks totally different after you've taken a particular type of shot that people are taking.
Okay.
I'll say it like that.
I feel I'm casting out right about now. Starting to crank.
Greta,
I think we need to.
I'm gonna cast out my net
pause.
too. Wind you back in, Greta.
Although fascinating and a subject that I'm completely up for devoting an entire podcast to, because I mean, even this whole etheric body business is super interesting, and all of the other layers of body, and I could talk about this for hours. But let's get back to
The quote.
mental change from your mind. Release yourself from emotions and thoughts that bind you to perceived hurtful experiences. be joyous, and revel in your beingness. So normally, I mean, we always plan our podcasts before we show up here, and we always write notes for us to refer back to, and generally we wind up completely missing them. I mean, we however, I am looking at the notes right now, and we're almost coming to break time, but I'll just throw it out there and we'll talk and then see what happens. So what we have in the notes are, in this loosening of the mental chains from your mind, I think one of the keys is awareness. We have to start becoming more mindfully aware. We have to catch those thoughts before we act on them, and maybe be aware enough, if you can take some space and before you act, think. And a lot of people are acting unconsciously on auto program. Emotions are a creation of reality. They're the chains that tie you to the concept of past, and you must always, always be in the now. So release painful experiences and create joy. Now, I know that was a big mouthful, but how can we parse that out? Because I really thought it was, worth getting recorded on this for posterity.
But I think what you said, Leigh, that part, I think the whole thing you said was excellent. I think that the part where you said, what was the beginning sentence?
Be awareness, catch thoughts before you act.
That's it. See, be aware. See, once you understand that you create your own reality, then you can start to be aware. People who don't understand or don't accept that you create your own reality, then they just feel they're there. They're just going through these experiences. They have no control over it. It's karma. I beat my wife, so now I'm being beaten up. Or I stole some candy, so now my car's stolen. Bad karma. Or I shared my candy bar with somebody, and then they gave me a candy bar the next day. So that's a good karma, good karma, bad karma, all it is creation of reality. But once you understand it, then you can watch yourself. You begin to watch what you think. You begin to watch what comes out of your mouth. Yeah, that's important, because that's a thought. And then you're putting the emotions, like we've stated in previous podcasts, the emotions are the things that give the gas to the thought.
Yeah,
it helps the thoughts to actualize. Yeah. So the mental chains, that is a chain is a continuation. So it can also be a loop. We can take the word chain out and put the word loop in.
Those individual links.
Yep. And you
so many metaphors, so many pictures.
Yeah. And in that loop, we find ourselves doing the same thing, experiencing the same thing over and over and over again that we don't want to experience.
Yeah, and then we end up blaming it on the past, on our parents, on the weather, on it just drives us right back into that loop of blame and shame.
Right. Instead of, like I had a loop that lasted for 62 years.
Whoa.
Well, hold on. Let's take a little pause before we dig into that. Oh, sometimes I really dislike that we have to pause, but we do. It is what we have to do right now. But Gretta's going to tell us about her 62 length of loop. And I would like to add to this creation of reality karma discussion. And Yvonne, sorry, I feel like I'm saying so much, but I'm sure you have things to say also. So, join with us. And listeners, please stand by. We are going to a fast commercial break and we will be back with this lively discussion. Thank you for listening. This is Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings with Leigh, Yvonne, Gretta, and the Realm. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. The break didn't really feel like a break because we were just continuing our conversation, but we are on Transformation Talk Radio every Friday at 11 a.m. I'm Yvonne. We're here with Gretta, Leigh, and the Realm of Beings, who we will hear from in our next segment. And today we're discussing this particular quotation: loosen mental chains from your mind. Release yourself from emotions and thoughts that bind you to perceived hurtful experiences. Be joyous and revel in your beingness. So we had a little bit of a cliffhanger right before we went on break, and we were talking about Greta's 62-year loop or series of loops that she created for herself. So we want to talk about that. We also talked about, mental pictures, or at least I thought when I look at this quote, what I feel something in my body, I get this picture of a card that I created one time. It was a soul collage card. And it was this picture of this mountain climber who was like wrapped in chains, and he was actually trying to climb up an iceberg. And he was just, I called the card oppression. And I feel like that's a thought, one of the many thoughts that holds us and chains us to these certain programs that we run in our mind, and eventually use the gasoline of our emotions to create a reality that we may not want, to experience. So when looking at that, I kind of looked at it in a different way, not as an obstacle, not as a mountain, not as an iceberg, but in a way where everything was one and the same, and the ice became water, and it was nourishing. And, again, that's just a different shift, a shift of an impression, actually of a live picture that I created just for my own meditation purposes. So I think that, sometimes visuals help us. Like, we're always talking about tools, but if you can just another tool that I use frequently in my work, in my experience, is just pausing, like that, just that catching before you actually get stuck in that loop. But I'm kind of curious, Gretta. I really wouldn't mind hearing about 62 years. I think our audience was left on that cliff, that abyss of like, okay, how could you be stuck? But it is possible, because I could find myself stuck in the same loop for a long time too. So let's hear it. Let's see what that story has to say.
I tell you, I've had several loops, and others might even be longer, if I go back and look at them. But this one particular one started when my father left. My father was already divorced from my mother. They divorced when I was a baby. But he used to come around and still see me. At 10 years old, he told me, he said, "You're not going to see me anymore. I am taking your brothers," because he had I had two brothers, between him and the next wife that he took after he divorced my mom, right? So he said, "I'm taking them and we're moving to California." As a child, I don't even remember even crying about that. It was on my birthday, and he gave me a doll to play with. So I think giving me the doll also impacted me, because now Dad's gone, I'm not going to see him again, because he told me, "You're not going to see me again." So what that stirred up in me is that I felt abandoned.
Oh, I would say, he's taking the
felt-
other kids.
Right, and not taking me.
Yeah. What's
Right.
wrong with me?
Mhm.
Right,
Wow,
right.
that's a strong one.
So with the abandonment then came the rejection.
Oof.
Yeah. And also along with that came mistrust.
Oh boy.
Not being
Sounds
able
like you're talking about my story, Greta.
How many,
that was a relationship that I had with a male.
your primary male figure, not just any male, your first one. He's supposed to be your prince. Darn it. That's what they tell us.
My protector, helped to guide me as I grow up. And now all that's gone. So consequently, just to cut to the chase, because I know we don't have 2 hours.
But we should. Darn it.
2 hours about this loop. But once I started interacting with men that were my significant others, then what did I practice? Abandonment, mistrust, and rejection.
So you called those things to yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So either you abandoned or they abandoned you?
Basically, they abandoned me.
So you were playing out the same drama, the same
over
loop.
and over again.
Same link in that chain.
Oh,
right. That's right. Over and over and over again.
And what made you stop? What made you break it? How'd you break it?
Well, my present husband, he and I used to be friends. Not used to be, but we are friends.
Started out.
We started out as friends. I'm gonna have to examine that Freudian slip too. But anyway,
good for you. See,
what are you creating there, Greta?
That is awareness in action, listeners. You see that? She said it. She caught it, and now she will go deeper into that Freudian slip.
Well, stay tuned on that one. I think you better talk to Myron there.
That is an example of how you can go deep. You make those quote unquote slips, and then, where does that come from?
I tell you, I don't even know myself. But he and I were friends for almost 30 years, 25 to 30 years. We were friends. Okay. But then we decided to get married. When we were friends, I never felt abandoned by him. I always felt he was there for me, which he was. I trusted him, I didn't feel ever rejected by him, Myron, I need you to help me do it. Sure, Greta, I'll come and help you. That was our relationship, right? So we changed the relationship and he becomes my significant other. Soon as he became my significant other, what did I put into place? But rejection, and mistrust.
Ooh.
Sure did. And so that's when I began to recognize that, because his daughter became pregnant. The baby's going on 3 years old now, but he and I decided it would be good for him to go there because he wanted to be there for the birth. So we were in agreement, and we wanted her to be all right, and she needed the support from her father and everything. Well, it turned out that 2-week trip turned into 5 months.
Oh.
So slowly as time went on, because he would tell me, now get this, it's so interesting, I think. He would say, okay, I'm coming home on such and such a day. I said, oh, okay. 2 days later, I can't come. I have to stay a little bit longer. He loves this particular church. The church wants me to do some things with them. So I can't come home. I have to stay. Every time he would set a date, there was another reason why he would cancel it. Okay. So then I said, okay, what's happening here?
I'm beginning to feel abandoned. Now, why am I beginning to feel abandoned? I'm beginning to feel abandoned because Myron is not coming home. He came home 2 days. Once he was at the front door, and I thought I was talking to him in Las Vegas, and he was standing at the front door of the house, but he didn't stay long. So really, it made me upset even more. You go, you come, I get used to you being here, and then you're gone. It was really, really an interesting experience for me. But when I realized I was feeling abandoned, I was feeling rejected, and I no longer trusted him to come home because he would always change the time. So there's the mistrust. So then
Wait, pause 1 second. Now, let's just now, you're saying, and many would be exactly saying this, oh, he kept changing the dates and not coming back. So that's kind of like, sounds a little blamish. But if you curl it back, he's supporting you in your abandonment, right? Because if you also look from another side, he showed his daughter, who has a different perspective on support, that her daddy would be there when she needed him, right?
Well, that's what I'm getting out of this whole thing.
He went to support her. But I mean, as a man, you could see that he seems to be, a chivalrous internally. Like, that's his girl, and he went to be there when she needed him, because I guess that's what he showed her when growing up. So she was creating that experience of her father. Now you get Greta, who has a different father experience, creating men who she wants to say, oh, the church that they were making him stay, that daughter, oh, that grandbaby, taking my place, whatever.
Yep.
So, and you don't even realize, I mean, I know Greta was not having any mal thoughts about an infant girl, consciously, but somewhere she perhaps, that was like some factor, or, oh, he's a really good minister, and I'm sure those church people are enjoying his sermons and blah, blah, blah. And, but it's so interesting with one person. You could see, it's such a good example how one person creates something and somebody else creates something else, same individual, based on their experiences. And her husband is just supporting. He's playing the support role to the creator, right?
He was also creating whatever he was, fulfilling his creation.
Right, because it's always create, support, create. It's always like that.
So what happened, Greta? Don't leave us cliffhanging again till the next break. Like, the story's great.
I realized what was happening. And then I said, if I stop thinking he's abandoning me, I'm going to change the support. So I stopped, QDR, whatever you want to say, quick displace, replace, but I worked with myself with displacing the feelings of abandonment and replacing it with feelings of I'm okay, I'm secure, I'm safe. You see, so I started doing that. Then he calls me, he says, well, I'm coming home on such and such a day. I said, really? I said, you sure you don't? Because now I'm okay with it. Because see, I've worked with myself, and I said, are you sure you want? Of course I'm coming home. I'm coming home. I want to be home. So he was very adamant about that. He said, I'm coming home. That's because I changed me. Didn't have anything to do with him, because the only thing he could do for me was support me where I was. So if I was in a state of abandonment, he was going to abandon me. If I was in a state of mistrust, he was going to show me, don't trust me. If I was in a state of rejection of myself, then he's got to show me, he's got to reject me. There you go. 62
perfect.
years I was in that loop.
I feel like you put on a beacon, like there was a beacon in your energy field, like the beacon before and the beacon now. Like before it was mistrust, abandonment, rejection, and like that beacon finally went to, okay, I accept him exactly as he is, what he has to do, what his daughter needs, what his grandbaby, what his church needs, and I'm okay with it. Just come home whenever you want to. And what does he do? He goes ahead and it's like you eventually get what you want, which was unconditional love and acceptance. Once you did that for yourself, he showed up and supported that.
Yeah, because people look outside. They look outside, you know, because, and that's exactly what I did. Let me be honest with you. I looked outside myself and I said, look at what he's doing.
Right.
You're not coming home.
Yeah.
You know,
you were the victim. He was
right.
like the criminal there. Look what he's doing to me. I'm just being here all by myself, and he's out there having a good time, wherever he was, and blah blah blah. And here I am all by myself. So yeah, so it's a lot going on. But wow,
Wait,
this
Yvonne,
is another podcast.
Wait, before we go into the break, because I know we're supposed to, I think before the realm shows up, we have to, well, formally, we have to just talk about, can we squeeze in a 3-minute piece of time, you know, like this is, I think is important, how affirmations work, like the difference between like the static and dynamic statements around these things, like Greta, you know, in our notes, we have like, I am joyful versus I am experiencing joy. So relating back to your story you just shared with all of us, can you work on some of those, you know, internal statements? Because it is one about accepting Myron and his circumstance and situation and what he is creating, but like the internal work that allowed you to feel safe and secure.
Right. I had to, well, the difference between static and dynamic, it's like if you say, I am happy versus I am experiencing happiness, or you said, I am joyful, or I am experiencing joy. When the static one, okay, so I'm happy. Okay, you're happy at this moment. You can turn your head and be unhappy. It's not, it's stagnant. It only fits at the time that you're saying it. I am happy. That's it. I am joyful. But if you wanted to extend out to all the realms of where you are and where you exist, then you use the word, I am experiencing, because the experiencing is like a loop. It keeps experiencing, experiencing, and experiencing. I am experiencing being happy. I am experiencing being safe. I am experiencing being secure. It takes care of every moment. Whereas the stagnant one, I am secure, only takes care of right then and there.
Oh, yes. So experience building those links to the next joyful, secure moment. Let go of those old links and start creating new links to more joy, more security, more happiness. So
right.
That's
right.
how you can kind of tether yourself to those more wanted experiences and sever the links of those less wanted experience. Okay, Yvonne, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought that the listener should hear that.
That is really important. And just to wrap it up, you know, that stagnant phrase, I am, it stops like dead in its tracks, where versus the other one ripples and ripples and ripples, and you can attach lots of other things to the back of it. And so yeah, it's more of a dynamic, moving, flowing situation. So yeah, well,
Create
we
new
have reached our
chains, new links.
second end of our second segment, which they just keep going faster and faster. I'm experiencing like timelessness. I don't know where the time goes. So yeah, we're gonna get ready. We're getting ready here we're gonna go on our next break. And when we come back, we will directly hear from the realm of beings. So stay tuned, and thank you for joining us, and thanks for coming back and joining us again every Friday on Transformation Talk Radio, and we'll see you in just a bit.
Hello, I'm Leigh. Thank you for joining us, staying with us actually, on Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. I'm here with Yvonne and Gretta. And this is the point of the podcast where the realm weighs in directly with what we've been speaking of today. So realm, have you joined us?
Yes, yes.
So today we've been talking about the quotation, loosen mental chains from your mind, release yourself from emotions and thoughts that bind you to perceived hurtful experiences. Be joyous and revel in your beingness. What do you have to tell our listeners today?
I think we have to say what we've been saying every time, and start it off with love of self. Love of self. That if you are in a hurtful position, you're feeling not only emotional pain, but physical pain. Go deep into yourself. Go past that. Because the pain is here. Go past the pain, you see. Because you're going deeper into self. Ask yourself, why? See, that's an important word when you want to change a reality that you don't like. You want to start to examine it within yourself so you can say, why did I do that? Why? Is it beneficial to me? Why would I want to hurt myself? Seek out the answer. You can even see if you say, why did I do it? The unconscious, see, you and the unconscious work together at all times. So when you say, why did I do this? The unconscious is going to come forward bit by bit, you see. And when why do I have a stomach ache? Why? I ate something that I wasn't supposed to eat. Then when you get to that, it was because I wasn't supposed to eat this particular thing, but it just tastes so good. But I ate it anyway. Then you want to ask yourselves, why did it, notice here it comes again, why did I eat something that I knew was going to make my stomach hurt? Why? And then you find the answer. Well, I just like that taste. I didn't care. Then the next question is, why did I like that candy bar or that ice cream or that broccoli? I wanted to eat it. Why? Well, it tastes good. Why? What is the taste doing for me? What is the taste? Is it making me feel happy? Because at the mouth part, you're, oh, this tastes so heavenly. It tastes so good. And then as it goes down, it reaches your stomach. You go, oh, my stomach hurts. So there you go. You play the why game until you keep getting. Is it that it tastes good to me? Is it that I want my life to be sweeter than what it is? Is it that the candy bar or the broccoli or whatever made me feel good? So if that external thing is making me feel good, then that must mean that internally I don't feel good. So what is making me not feel good inside myself? You see, everything is always inside yourself. You forget. You look outside yourselves. Never. Always look inside self. Because that's where you create. It just manifests on the outside. So you can see it. Sometimes we see things and we don't even know what the heck we're seeing. You look at it, you go, why did that happen? Well, let's explore. Inner exploration is the key to dealing with creation of reality. Inner. I could make a song about that.
Sounds like it's a process.
Of course, Yvonne, it's a process. Tell you the truth, Yvonne, everything is a process.
I agree.
Everything is a process. But the thing for today is go deep inside. Then you can revel in your beingness. Because then you can understand that, oh, look what I created. Oh, do I want to continue like Gretta did for 62 years? Or do I want to stop? If I want to stop, what am I going to replace this with? Go get a massage. Buy yourself some flowers. Go take a swim. Humanoids are so oriented toward physical things. Sometimes this intellectual stuff doesn't work for you. So you want, relax. Relaxation is important. Relax, go do something that makes you happy. Don't eat that candy bar now. That's gonna make your stomach hurt. We're not talking about that. But do something that makes your internal being feel good. Go make love to somebody if that's what helps you. Enjoy your life. Revel in your beingness. Revel in your creativity. You got something you don't like, get rid of it. Last week we said cancel, cancel, cancel. I don't want this experience anymore. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Take a trip. Do something fun. Love yourself enough to do something fun. Relax. Don't be so uptight about everything. Relax. You were in a car accident. You say, oh my. How did I create that? But you know, while you're going through it, just relax. Revel in your beingness of relaxing and saying, okay, I created being in an automobile accident. It's done. Now revel in loving yourself. Something shows up, you don't want it to show up, you go, oops. You say, I love myself unconditionally. I appreciate myself unconditionally. I recognize and know that I am safe and secure. I recognize and know that I am experiencing opulent prosperity.
Thank you, Realm. I think one other tool that we could share that is completely within to get into that relaxation mode or awareness is just look into your breath. Just find your breathing. When all else fails, just pause and see how you're breathing. Thank you, Realm, for sharing your wisdom. Thank you, Yvonne and Gretta, for joining us in this conversation today. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. This has been another podcast of Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings. Until we create each other again. So long.
Once again, thanks for joining us at Shifting Impressions, Conversations with the Realm of Beings on TransformationTalkRadio.com. As you have explored today's creation of reality experience with Leigh, Yvonne, the Realm, and me, Gretta, each of you is being supported by us in further developing the understanding that you are not just an individual existing in linear time and space, but a multidimensional force of infinite possibilities who is connected to all. So begin to create the realities you want. Join us every Friday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time and 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Shifting Impressions at TransformationTalkRadio.com. So long until we create each other again next Friday.